What is your American dream?
My American dream would be to end school mass shootings.
My dream for America is peace. I've been wanting that like all the time.
Dream America is toys.
My American dream is to become a professional ballerina.
My dream for America is everyone could have fireworks everywhere since some people can't see the fireworks from here.
My dream for America is for people to understand how this country was brought about, make the American dream possible for all citizens.
My dream for America is a unified country.
My dream for America is to nurture young entrepreneurs, especially in the minority community. We need to strengthen the economic power in the Afro-American community.
My American dream is what I'm living right now every day, and that's to enjoy my family, my friends, and my coworkers every day, and get involved in my community and do my best to be the change that I see that needs to be.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. It's Hump Day. Welcome, everybody. My name is Brad Bernstein. We got a lot of show today. Hopefully, we're going to help a lot of people with their immigration issues, problems, questions, legal issues as well. I know we're going to have a lot of fun because I got Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias and Vanessa Nesquik Contreras, two of the most fun people I have ever met in my entire life. What's going on, guys?
It's hot.
It's hot out. It's hot outside. It's hot in here. It's hot everywhere.
Yes.
It's hot.
Yes.
It's Hump Day. It's hot and it's Hump Day.
And by the way, Yo-Yo, you are in Upper Manhattan, I assume. And however hot it is in Upper Manhattan, I can assure you it is hotter down in Miami, right?
Oh, of course.
But
I hear we're even today, though. We're even. But is it as hot as the studio?
I was about to say, but the hottest place on earth is the studio right here at Brad Show Live with all the lights and no air conditioning.
That's where Brad was going with it.
I don't know who designed this studio or who is in charge of designing this studio, maybe me, but there seems to be no working air conditioning.
Oh, no.
No, it is working today,
wild.
but sometimes it doesn't, but today it does. So we're okay. We're okay. And yesterday we had no show. It was graduation day for my daughter.
I saw. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Congrats to you too, Brad.
And it's funny because she says, I don't feel like I accomplished anything. It's just high school. Why is everyone making a big deal about this? So I said, it's not so much that you accomplished anything because most people graduate high school, but I said it's an important milestone in your life. So celebrate that it's an important milestone in your life. And this is one step to getting to another step, to ultimately accomplishing something.
That's such like a young person's mindset, you know, like even in high school when they were like, these are going to be the best 4 years of your life. I was like, no, it's not. And it actually was. Like as an adult, like I'm like, damn, like I want to go back.
I would go back if somebody asked me, and this is the God's honest truth. If somebody asked me, take 1 year in your life, go back and relive it, what was the most fun you ever had in your life? I would have to say my senior year in high school, 17 to 18 years old.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yes.
I was hoping you would say that. That summer, I was going to say she's about to have the best summer. Like that summer of senior year, the graduation parties, like, all the farewell parties. It's like
it was sad too. It was also really sad, you know, because I just knew like everybody was going to go their own way, and you know, you wouldn't see the people that you grew up with, because you know, a lot of us went to the same schools together. So it was also sad, but it's definitely a milestone that she will never forget.
It is. And actually I feel a little sad for my son who graduated high school a year ago, And And he didn't get that.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a graduation. There were no graduation parties. So he missed that. So sad for him and everybody from last year. But I am sure the kid is only 20 years old. He will make it up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure he will make it up.
So funny.
What?
Seeing all the graduation celebrations this year, right? I'm like, oh, you know, a lot of them were actually in person too. Like I know some universities in New Jersey were, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, the kids that graduated last year watching this right now, like they must be hating on these kids now.
Yeah.
Well,
for you to have both of them.
I'll say two things. One, yesterday everything was outdoors, but there was not anybody wearing a mask. Everybody was outdoors. It was like a normal graduation. Maybe I saw one teacher wearing a mask, but other than that, I mean, it was all the parents there, hundreds of kids, several hundred parents. It was all outdoors, and it was very lovely. That's why I'm a little tan today. I look a little like a lobster today because I didn't realize that it was going to be so outdoors and so hot and, you know, the sun bearing on me, so I didn't have any lotion on my face. But also, and I don't know about all of the schools, but my son's high school invited everybody who didn't have a graduation last year back this year for graduation so that they would have a graduation for both,
that's nice.
For both years. So I said to my son, you know, I got this email. You gonna go? He goes, nah, me and my friends aren't going. Last year was graduation. I'm not going back this year. It's past the point.
Cool.
Because he already did a year of college. He's not going back to graduate high school. Anyways, let's go. But at least they were trying, at least, you know. So let's say hello to the squad, right?
Let's do it.
Pape Samuel saying, hi, Brad. How are you? Cordella Douglas, squad up. Princess Tanko. Hey, squad. It's been a long time. Princess, where have you been, Princess? Jewel Delph, squad up. Willie L. Williams, capital SQUAD, up everyone. Screaming it from the rafters. Laverne Parker, squad up. How are you? Jonah Mate Henderson, hello, Brad. Thank you for allowing me on board. You're welcome very much, Jonah. Mary Watkins, we see you watching. Squad up. Mavo Tom, good evening and God bless. Jessica Leamy, Carol Anderson, the Tiger. Gordon Giami, congratulations to your daughter. Thank you very much. Who else we got here? Amanda Chung, good evening, my squaddies. Dodre Ann Graham saying, hi, squad. Dane C. Welcome. School in Pennsylvania is doing both. I guess they're doing what my son's school had done also. They're doing 2 years of graduation. Let's go over to YouTube. Westman saying, hi, Brad, squad up. Shan Smith saying, hey, y'all. Vanessa Bentley saying, hi. Tali, squad up. She is our biggest cheerleader on YouTube, telling everybody to share and give us the thumbs up. Crystal Perry, hi, squad. Denise Johnson, squad up. S. Biminji, love you all, Brad, squad. And 29 Super C, Cordella Douglas, we see you, double fisting. And the pre-question of the day, guys, comes from David Agbu. Hello, can my Vawa case get approved if it's based on abuse on health issues? And also, when can I remarry after I file for Vawa? I don't know what abuse based on health issues means. So I'm not fully aware of, you know, you have to prove extreme emotional abuse or physical abuse. What is abuse on health issues? I'm not sure what that means. So I can't answer that question. The second part of the question, when can I remarry after I file for Vawa? You can remarry whatever you want, but if you remarry before your Vawa case gets approved, which is the I-360, then that's automatic denial. So if you're counting on getting the Vawa approved, you cannot remarry until the I-360 Vawa petition is approved. Otherwise, your case will be denied. Now, most people file a Vawa and an adjustment. Once the I-360 is approved, which is usually approved before the adjustment, then you can marry. You want to be 100% safe, wait till you get your green card. Yo, Vanessa, that's the pre-question of the day. Take it away.
Perfect. All right, squad, now please share. You already know what I'm going to have to say. The only way we could get the show out to everybody is through your fingers. Now we're about to start schmoozing with Brad, talking headlines and immigration news, including Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance's decision to convene a grand jury to consider potential charges in the Trump Organization probe.
And it's Hump Day Wednesday, Brad Squad, so get ready for some interesting Hump Day stories, such as why a former Pornhub devotee has announced that he is retiring from that platform.
Very interesting. We'll have to see what that's all about. But in the meantime, if you want to get your question answered on our show, you call the telephone number scrolling on the bottom. You also see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with my head running across your screen right now saying call and ask your immigration questions. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. We're going to schmooze first, and then we're going to get to your immigration questions. We take the first 14 calls. We do have open lines right now, so if you do call, you will get on our show. You will have your immigration question answered by me live in a few minutes. We're going to get to our social media check-in. We're going to then speak later in the show to one of our Spar and Bernstein partners and immigration attorney, Shannon LaGuerre Maingrette, who's going to tell us about a recent case in which a couple from Jamaica who had been seeking sanctuary from deportation by living in a church for over 2 years, about how they are about to become proud green card holders. It's a pretty amazing story about how one of our clients literally stayed in a church. ICE could not walk into the church to get them, and they lived in that church for 2 years to avoid deportation until their case was reopened. Pretty amazing. But let's do awesome. Right now, schmoozing with Brad, schmoozing with Yo-Yo, schmoozing, boy, I'm sounding like Yo-Yo now, schmoozing with Nesquik and the entire squad. But Yo-Yo, I actually don't sound like you because you say schmoozing correctly now.
I say it right now. I was like, I worked on it.
Yeah, Nesquik, I want you to know something. This is well before your time on our show. But it was a 1 full year before Yo-Yo was able to say the word schmoozing, right?
Schmoozing, couldn't say it.
Yeah, he would say smoozing, and I just said it just now. Yeah, schmoozing.
I said it like how my family would say, smoozing.
we're gonna smooze now. But that's fine. It works. Smoozing, schmoozing, it means the same thing, right? All right. Well, sadly today, while I was at work, I noticed this coming across the news. I'm sure you guys saw it too. A gunman opened fire at a light rail yard today, and this was out in San Jose, California. Killed 8 people. A police spokesman said the gunman, an employee, it's like a regular basis, like it doesn't even faze people anymore. 8 people dead. It was an employee at the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, which is a light rail hub. He is also dead, and many of the employees are the victims. Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen said the gunman took his own life as well. Now, nobody knows for sure how many employees were wounded and how many numbers, and these numbers are obviously going to change. The suspect was identified as Samuel Cassidy. At the moment, 8 are dead. They have not announced the number of wounded. Now, this is, as I said, it's like a daily occurrence. Deadly shooting rampages every day in America. It's like literally every day. If not every day, it's every other day. In March, 8 people, 6 of them women of Asian descent, were killed by a gunman at 3 spas in Atlanta. 6 days later, 10 people were killed at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. Weeks later, 8 people killed when a gunman opened fire at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. There were at least 12 mass shootings across 8 states in the United States this past weekend. They don't even talk about it anymore. It's such a daily occurrence. At least 11 people dead because not enough people died for it to make the news. That's why. 69 people injured. Now, mass shooting is an incident in which 4 or more people are killed or wounded by gunfire. That is CNN's definition, and that is the definition that Bradshaw Live is taking. So if their gun goes off and more than 4 people are hurt, that's a mass shooting. Now, there were 12 of those this past weekend alone, not including the San Jose, California, where 8 people died. The reason you don't hear about it is because not enough people died. Now, according to Gun Violence Archive, more than 7,500 people have died from gun violence just in the year 2021. We're not even 6 months through it yet. Is that shocking to you?
It's not shocking. It's sad, though. It's not shocking, but it's very sad.
Yes. So let's take a look over the weekend. All the mass shootings that people may not have heard about. In Chicago, 4 men between the ages of 20 and 41 were injured in a shooting. 3 people were killed and at least 3 others were injured in a shooting in Youngstown, Ohio, Spar, Sunday morning. 1 person is dead, 3 injured in an early morning shooting in an apartment complex in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 5 people were injured in a shooting at a large gathering in Paterson, New Jersey, early Sunday morning. A 16-year-old girl was killed and 5 others were injured at a shooting late Saturday night in Bicentennial Park, Columbus, Ohio.
Oh my God.
At a house party packed with hundreds of guests in Cumberland County, New Jersey. Gunfire erupted, killing at least 2 people and wounding a dozen. All of this past weekend.
Oh my God.
I'm not talking about weeks ago. I'm talking about in the last 48 hours. A shooting at an unauthorized concert in North Charleston, South Carolina, late Saturday night left a 14-year-old dead, 13 wounded.
Oh.
A 5-year-old boy was one of 4 people injured in a shooting at a Texas sports complex in San Angelo on Saturday. There are at least 9 gunshot victims, including 1 man who died after a shooting in downtown Minneapolis Saturday evening. In Jersey City, police found 2 people dead and 4 more injured after responding to multiple reports of gunshots on Friday night. All this past weekend. And then we wake up today to 8 dead in San Jose, California.
That's horrible.
And at what point do we say that guns are not protecting us, which is the argument? We need guns to protect us.
Yeah.
At what point do we say, if nobody has a gun, nobody gets killed? You can't go on a mass shooting with a knife or your fists.
Right.
And that I feel like that's the reason why the media isn't, showing it, because whoever wants gun control, they probably have so much of control over the media as well. They're like, don't show this, because then it'll be, cause an uproar. Then everybody's going to come out and be like, oh, no guns.
I don't know if it's so much that the media is controlled by that. I would disagree. I would argue that we are so sanitized to the violence that it's not a big deal anymore. Somebody gets shot, somebody gets killed. It doesn't ring as a tragedy anymore unless it's a situation where 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 people dead at one time. So I think it's just about sanitizing our own emotions and feelings that somebody got shot. Who cares? 4 people got injured by gunshot. Shrug our shoulders. Let's eat chicken for dinner. Nobody seems to care anymore because we're so sanitized to the violence already. And it's a situation where, majority of Americans want to see some sort of gun control to avoid this gun violence on a regular basis. But politically, the NRA and many of the Republicans and even some conservative Democrats, I don't want to just say it's Republicans, it's many Democrats from many of the more rural states. The way that the system is set up right now is you are not going to pass gun legislation. There is a large minority of Americans who are controlling the gun legislation. I'm not saying a small minority, a large minority of Americans who control gun legislation. It just can't get passed, and that is very sad. And that's why you see Joe Biden not even concentrating on it, because he says he wants to concentrate on things that he thinks he can change. To put all his time and energy into gun control to ultimately fail That's why he's looking at other areas.
As well as even for the cities mentioned, right? So something that stood out to me was Jersey City, New Jersey, which is really not too far from where I'm from originally in New Jersey. And there's a lot of gentrification happening in that area and in that city. And there are areas that are known to be, you know, a little more urban areas. And it's known, you know, to be familiar with this kind of danger. And it's even for the town, it's like, let's not raise too much awareness on this, especially knowing what we're trying to build in this space.
Yeah.
So there's also that.
Yeah, you know, I'm just looking at some of the comments, like Carol the Tiger says, I don't even watch the news anymore because it's too violent. You know, and Marcia McCullough agrees with Carol there. And so does Stargirl Mika. Nobody wants to even watch the news anymore.
Well, my mom has always said that. She has always said she does not watch the news because it's like a scary movie and she already lives in one. So
yeah, and you know, like on YouTube, Yano504, I agree with your mom. He says everyone needs to have a carry permit. Yes. Yeah, you can't stop a crazy person with a gun. But what you can do is make guns more difficult to walk around with, make bullets more harder to obtain. It is too easy right now to walk. It is easier to get a gun permit than it is to get a learner's permit to drive a car.
And here on YouTube as well, it's Zell R saying when nobody gets a gun, nobody gets killed. Now it's clear. 1 + 1 is 2. People plus no guns equals nobody gets killed. Extremely simple, just like you were saying, Brad.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't think guns protect people. I think guns cause more violence. So I don't. My personal opinion is, you know, when people say I want a gun to protect myself, I think the violence that guns causes the violence. So it's actually a self-fulfilling prophecy that more guns cause more violence. I need a gun to protect myself from the violence, and it's a perpetual prophecy. So I don't buy that argument, and I also don't buy the argument that you need guns to protect yourself from the government. The government's not coming to, you know, overtake you. I don't buy that argument either. And the last argument you hear from gun proponents is, well, you know, I use guns for sport and I like to go hunting and you shouldn't stop me from going hunting, or something to that effect. And my answer to you is whatever joy you get out of hunting is outweighed by the violence guns causes.
That part.
When you weigh the two, you don't deserve to hunt anymore. So
that
to me,
part.
to me, you know, I'm way extreme. I don't think there should be any guns, period. Most people don't believe me, you know, agree with me. They think there should be some level of guns, fine, but not where we're at right now in America.
I agree with you.
So that's my 2 cents on it. I know I'm in the minority. I think there should be no guns, but most people don't agree with me. But that's my opinion.
If it was whether you want to pick no guns or where we're at today, I would go the extreme as well and say no guns.
And the other argument is, well, you know, well then the bad people will have guns because they're going to get guns anyway, and it's possible.
Illegally,
yes.
Yes.
It's possible they would get illegal guns, but there would certainly be a lot less guns on the street. It would be much more harder to get, and you would have a lot less killing. Meanwhile, the Washington Post reported that Manhattan's top prosecutor has convened a grand jury. This is the first step in charging Donald Trump with a crime or charging the Trump organization with a crime. The panel, convened by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, could also decide to indict Trump executives or even indict the Trump business. The grand jury is set to sit for 3 weeks a day for 6 months. They are calling it a special grand jury. And the only reason they call it a special grand jury is, you know, A, it sounds better in the news, and B, a regular grand jury sits for a day or two and then either indicts or doesn't. Special grand jury sits for much longer. So that's why they're calling it a special grand jury. Now, without specifically referencing the news of the grand jury convening, the former president said in a statement last night, this quote, I'm quoting him, This is a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in American history. It began the day I came down the escalator in Trump Tower, and it has never stopped. Now, news of the panel signals that the Vance's team of prosecutors who have been investigating the Trump organization for more than 2 years could be nearing the end of the probe. The Manhattan District's attorney's investigation drew renewed attention early this month following news that New York Attorney General Letitia James has joined the probe as well. So this is the story, guys. Let me break it down for you. All right. They are investigating as far as we know. Now, everything given to the grand jury is secret. So nobody knows what's given to the grand jury. And the grand jury is basically jurors. Just like you get picked to go to jury duty, you also get picked for a grand jury. Now, jurors in New York are generally 6 jurors to a jury. For the grand jury, it's 23 people. The difference between a grand jury and a jury trial is it's one-sided, meaning that it's the prosecutor presenting evidence to a grand jury. Is it more likely than not that a crime occurred? That's all a grand jury has to decide. And you don't need all 23 people to agree. You need a majority of the grand jurors. So if there's 23 people, that means 12 say yes, 11 say no, you get an indictment. Why do you need an indictment? Because a prosecutor needs a grand jury to charge somebody with a felony. If you're being charged with a felony, you need to go through a grand jury. If you're being charged with a misdemeanor, it could just be done by the prosecutor. So they want to charge either Donald Trump, executives of the Trump organization, the Trump organization itself, with felony or multiple felonies. They are going to present evidence to this grand jury. It's one-sided. So Donald Trump doesn't get to defend himself. Donald Trump's lawyers don't know what's being submitted to the grand jury. The grand jury only hears from one side, the prosecutor, which is why most lawyers learn their first couple days in law school, or the first couple of days they take a criminal law class, that a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich. Meaning that they'll indict anybody because it's one-sided, there's no defense. Now, this is going to be over 6 months. And from what I understand from reading, again, everything is secret, so you don't know what is being presented. This seems to be what the allegations are. The allegations are that Donald Trump owns and the Trump organization owns these properties. And when he files his tax returns, and when the Trump organization files their tax returns, they devalue the properties. They make the properties worth less. And if they make their properties worth less money, they're paying less assessments in real estate taxes, or perhaps even in other taxes as well on the tax return. So when you devalue your real estate property, you are paying less taxes on a tax return, personal and business. Now, when they go to value their properties for insurance purposes, because God forbid there's a flood, there's a fire, there's an earthquake, there's a terrorist attack, they want to get top dollar to replace their buildings. When they go to refinance their buildings and they want to cash out their equity in the building. So, you say, okay, the building is worth $100 million. You want to cash out your equity. You get a big mortgage worth $100 million. You want to value that building as much as possible to cash out your equity and pay back the mortgage over 20, 30 years. So when they're going to cash out their equity and they're refinancing their building, they're saying their buildings are worth a lot of money. And on their tax returns, they're saying their buildings are worth a lot less to lower their taxes. So they're lying somewhere. That's the allegation. Okay? And that is criminal conduct. They're either lying on their taxes or they're lying on financial documentation to get mortgages or refinance their buildings. That is the allegation. Now, there's also other issues ancillary. Okay? They have Donald Trump's tax returns. He paid Stormy Daniels and many other women hush money. Did he declare did he declare that hush money on his taxes? There's another ancillary issue. Apparently, Ivanka, the daughter, was paid over close to $1 million yearly as a consultant. Did she pay taxes on that consultant fee? What did she do for that $1 million? So there's a lot of ancillary issues, and there's other issues we know nothing about that is being presented to the grand jury in secret by a prosecutor. Now, what the evidence we know at the moment is we got Michael Cohen, the former attorney. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's the guy who wrote the check to Stormy Daniels for $200-something thousand. He took the rap for it. He went to jail for it, and he flipped on Donald Trump. And he says he's the star witness now in this new grand jury proceedings. If Michael Cohen is the star witness, they don't have enough to get Donald Trump to prove guilty because he has too much baggage on him. He's not a believable witness. So if it's Michael Cohen and that is it, how are you going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump did something wrong? Because you can shred Michael Cohen to bits on cross-examination. He's not believable. He's lied his whole entire life. So maybe he's telling the truth now, maybe he's not. But is that beyond a reasonable doubt? No. They have Trump's taxes. That's something. They have some other documents from Deutsche Bank that they got. We don't know what those documents are. That may be something, meaning that there are a paper trail of perhaps somebody doing something wrong. But in the end, they need something else, I believe, to actually get over the hump, to prove that Donald Trump did something or the Trump organization did something beyond a reasonable doubt that was criminal. And you want to know where I believe that's going to come from? So we'll see how it turns out. We've been talking about him recently, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Take a guess. The Weasel.
Oh, the Weasel.
The Weasel. He is the chief Alan Weaselberg, or Weisselberg. Yeah. We call him the Weasel.
A Weaselberg.
Weaselberg, yeah. But I think it's pronounced Weiselberg, but we'll call him Weaselberg.
Weaselberg.
Okay. He is the chief financial officer of the Trump organization. They are now investigating him for crimes. Now, he's squeaky clean in terms of he's not like a Michael Cohen who has already been shown to be a liar and a criminal. So if they have Michael Cohen, some financial documents, and a guy like Weasel who flips and starts testifying against Donald Trump and the Trump organization, that's when they're going to have big problems. They need that other star witness. You ever see the movie with Kevin Costner a long time ago and Robert De Niro called The Untouchables?
Heard of it, never saw it.
About Al Capone.
Mm-hmm.
Al Capone was untouchable.
Yes.
He was the gangster from the 1920s who was bootlegging alcohol during Prohibition. Great movie.
I went to his jail cell.
Yeah, right.
His jail cell in Jersey,
right,
in Philly.
And the big thing was, Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness. He's the FBI agent who's investigating Al Capone. And Robert De Niro goes to Elliot Ness, "You got nothing on me. You got nothing on me," because nobody was testifying against him, or the people who was testifying against Al Capone were other criminals, and they couldn't pin anything on him. And then finally, they were able to flip Al Capone's bookkeeper. And because they flipped the bookkeeper, they got Al Capone, and he went to jail, not for bootlegging alcohol, because that was his real crime, not for killing people, not for running an organized crime syndicate, but for not filing his taxes properly. And this, to me, it's a great movie, by the way.
That's how they don't try and get him.
This seems to me like it's like history again. It's like history again in terms of like Donald Trump did all of these terrible, terrible crimes that we will find out over the course of history. But if they're going to get him, just like they got Al Capone,
they got to get him on something
they're going to get him on the tax return.
The tax return.
They're going to get, just like they got Al Capone on the tax return.
Because you have facts there, you know.
That's
You'll
right.
have the just like you said, bookkeepers. So that's
right. And they're going to flip the bookkeeper. So who's the bookkeeper? The chief financial officer? The weasel.
The weasel.
Wow.
The weasel.
So I think this is like the movie. This is like the movie playing itself out again. Although the movie was real life, you know.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah, this life too. This could be real life too.
Jill goes in my ear instead of Pop Goes the Weasel. We can start singing Flip Goes the Weasel. So we'll see what happens. But I've just given you my opinion. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's what I think will happen.
Awesome.
Meanwhile, let's talk a little coronavirus. According to data from the Johns Hopkins University, the United States has reported more than 33 million COVID cases, 590,000 deaths. I have to say one thing. We've been reporting deaths all week. That has not gone up a lot.
That's good.
So kudos to the United States of America. Deaths are going down. Now, more than 50% of people in the United States have received at least one vaccine shot. More than 39% are fully vaccinated, which means 4 out of 10 Americans are fully vaccinated now. According to the White House, the vaccination rate for U.S. adults has surpassed 50%, and they are moving closer to at least one vaccination in the arm of 70% of adults by July 4th. The World Health Organization, however, says that unfortunately, more than 75% of all vaccinations worldwide have gone into the arms of people living in the 10 wealthiest countries. Last week, Joe Biden announced the United States would send another 20 million doses abroad, in addition to the 60 million he promised to India. I mean, the reality is, if you want to get rid of COVID, you got to put 1 billion shots in people's arms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yesterday, Moderna said its COVID vaccine is not 99% or 98% effective for kids ages 12 to 17. It is 100% effective, meaning that they did a test study of children between the ages of 12 and 17. Nobody got COVID who took the vaccine. 100% effective in ages 12 to 17. Now, on Monday, Governor Cuomo said schools in New York can fully reopen in September based on the rates of COVID in the state of New York. And by the way, reopening schools in New York will do more for the economy of New York State than any stimulus check, although it's nice to get a stimulus check, because too many parents were saddled home taking care of children and not being able to go to work fully or concentrate on work fully. So many people in two family working homes or one family where there's only one parent at home, too many families had to either give up their jobs because they were not able to come back to work, were not able to work from home efficiently or effectively because their kids were home. Besides school educating children, school is a way to have parents be comfortable and confident that their children are being taken care of while they go to work to make money for the family. This will do more for the New York State economy than anything else, putting kids back to school full time.
That's a really great point. I did.
Yes.
For sure.
All right. You ready to get a little humpy?
Let's get randy.
Let's get randy. We have some camels. Those camels were ready to go.
We should name these camels Randy.
They are very excited, these camels.
The Randy camels.
Yeah. Now, let's see what happened, why somebody is retiring from Pornhub. I never heard of such a retirement before.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Now, a former Pornhub devotee has announced he's done with Pornhub. A screenshot of the touching farewell speech has garnered more than 400,000 likes and 65,000 retweets on Twitter. This man was a porn addict who goes by Lil Dub 1. He wrote, "Boys, I am not here to watch, but to announce my retirement. I've officially found the one person who is right for me." He goes on to describe his soulmate as a brilliant, beautiful, and loyal person who makes him happy every time he wakes up. I guess she or he would have to make this person very happy every day for him not to watch Pornhub, right?
That's she.
It's a she.
Yes, she.
I think that's so romantic.
You think so? How long do you think this will last? How long can somebody who's addicted to Pornhub, how long can somebody who is addicted to Pornhub, who watches porn regularly, all of a sudden now has a new woman in his life, how long will it last before he goes back?
Hey, you know what, Brad? I believe in love. I believe in love, and one can go cold turkey, okay? We can't just throw everybody in a big Pornhub pool, you know? Things happen, people change, love happens.
Now, I'm going to tell you what little Dubby said, or Little Dub 1 said. He said, "I hope one day you guys that are reading this find the same thing I have, and I know you will all miss me, and I will miss you."
What?
Yeah,
so was he like?
That's how I know.
Was he like a famous commentator or a commentator?
Is this romantic? Is this a guy who says, "I'm going to give up alcohol," and goes back to the bar in a month?
I believe in this guy. Look, he's wishing his community well. That seems like a great man. You know, he just, we each find our community where we find them. That's
yeah. You know what? I think it's nice to say, but I think like alcohol is an addiction, drugs are an addiction. There's a lot of addiction. I mean, I'm addicted to food. I know it. Okay, everyone has their addictions in life. You know, I think somebody who would be addicted to porn can't give it up.
I mean, the story also said he was devoted to, not necessarily addicted to. So there could be a point in time where maybe I'm no longer as disciplined in this space.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what Twitter had to say. All right. Twitter had to say, one guy said, "Diagnosis, wholesome." Okay. Another guy said, "Farewell, fellow soldier. Our platoon will remain here on the battlefield, still searching for the #1 video." Rest easy now, brother. We'll take it from here. Everybody's searching for the #1 video on Pornhub.
I like that one.
Now I want you to know something. Not everybody was as positive. You know, I'm a little more negative on this. All right. So one skeptical person wrote, "Girlfriend standing behind him as he types this message."
Wow.
That could be true. Now, certain studies claim, all right, let's get into science here for a second. Certain studies claim that watching porn can improve your sex life and promote gender equality, while other research says it destroys relationships, the chances of erectile dysfunction, and even fosters sexual violence.
I think it would help.
You think watching porn helps your sex life?
I agree. I would think that.
I think it depends. I mean, I guess there would be a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way to do it.
Absolutely.
And it depends on what your mindset is when you're watching. I guess I haven't given enough thought to it. I don't know. Vanessa, I'll give you the last word on Pornhub, man. Giving it up.
Again, I believe in love, and I think he's gonna make it, and everyone is gonna have an opinion.
All right, man gives up Pornhub. Vanessa's last word on it. She believes in love. Let's go on. Let's go on to the next story. On the morning of May 20th, Prince William, who we have not heard enough from lately, it just doesn't seem to be in the news at all. The Duke of Cambridge took to his official royal Twitter account to post a photo of himself receiving his first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He wrote, "To all those working on the vaccine rollout, thank you for everything you've done." Now, William is not the first royal to have received the shot. He follows family members, including his grandmother and Prince Charles. But Twitter users and royal fanatics alike seem to have been interested in William's vaccine, not due to the fact that he took it, but due to the prince exposing more of his assets than usual. Although the Duke of Cambridge's post was meant to be a well-meaning message of public service, it additionally provoked an entirely different reaction among followers on Twitter. Here are several of the hilarious responses. I guess he seems to have some muscles on his arm. I guess that's what they would be referring to.
Gotcha.
M. Selsber wrote with a Bethany Frankel gif. Quite ironic Bethany Frankel gif. Good morning to Prince William and Prince William's vaccinated arm. Marcelin wrote, congratulations, your buffness, I mean your highness. And everyone talking about the jab, and here I am looking at those guns. Well done, William. Well, I guess he has not had any royal duties for a long time now, so he's had plenty of time to hit the gym, right?
To work out.
I mean, what has he got to do all day?
Right. I'm actually surprised he has arms like that.
Why? I'm not.
He doesn't seem like the type that would have like a body like that.
Well,
you know?
I think if you got nothing to do all day and you got plenty of money and not a lot of worries other than what your dad thinks of you, you can hit the gym and you know, and pump some iron and be like, now I feel better. I don't care what dad thinks of me anymore. And now, right?
That
Agreed.
sums up royal.
I think that sums it up. And I guess Meghan Markle, she's pretty happy with those guns too, right?
She should be.
She should be. All right. Now, soon you can do more on dating apps than just swipe right. You'll also be able to super swipe to promote vaccinations. The Biden administration announced Friday that dating apps are making it easier for singles to find others who've been vaccinated. The administration says new features launching over the next several weeks by Tinder, Hinge, Match, OkCupid, Bumble, BLK. What's BLK? I don't know what that one is. And other dating sites. Black dating sites. I guess I wouldn't know that one. And it's the biggest one. Okay. And other dating sites will help President Biden reach his goal of getting at least one shot in the arm of 70% of adults by July 4th. More than 60% of U.S. adults have at least one shot, according to the government. Andy Slavitt, the White House senior advisor on COVID-19 response, said, we have finally found the one thing that makes us all more attractive, a vaccination. That's good, right? So people can find other vaccinated people. I heard on Tinder, people are saying, I'm vaccinated, I'm safe. I've heard people saying that.
Yeah, because, you know, during the pandemic, that was like a big thing with these dating sites. You know, usually you get on a dating site to meet people face to face. So like they were doing, you know, coming up with new things with like virtual dating and like going on virtual dates and whatnot. So like now the fact that you can put the fact that you're vaccinated and that you're, you know, safe enough to meet up, that's like a big plus.
Have you ever been on one of them? I'm sure everybody has at least tried, right? You've been on Tinder or one of those, right? Which ones have you ever used?
I did Tinder.
Which else?
Before.
What else?
Hinge.
Hinge. I've done Tinder and Hinge.
Yeah, I tried it.
I've done Bumble. I've done Match.
I didn't do those. I didn't do those.
What else have I done? I've done OkCupid once.
I haven't done any of these.
You've done none of those.
No, I don't chase. I attract.
Very good.
Ooh.
Now, Yo-Yo, would it matter to you if somebody said if you were swiping they were vaccinated, or you wouldn't care?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care.
Because you're vaccinated.
Right.
And Vanessa, although you attract, you don't chase. In the one hypothetical day you would be on one of these, would it matter to you? No, because you're not even vaccinated yourself.
I mean, exactly. I was going to say.
You're not even vaccinated yourself. So these two millennials really wouldn't matter to them, but Joe Biden, an octogenarian, thinks it would matter to people. So
I'm sure it will matter to some people.
Maybe it matters to some people. 6.7 million sperm samples are being shot off to the moon. I wonder how they're going to shoot these sperm samples off to the moon. Let's see.
Just like that. Look at that.
That's how they're doing it. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Yo-Yo, maybe yours could make it to the moon, but I don't think I'm 52. I don't think mine would be able to shoot up to the moon at this point. Would yours be able to shoot up to the moon?
Absolutely.
You would. Okay. All right, let's see how they're going to shoot these sperm samples up to the moon. What they're calling a modern global insurance policy, mechanical engineers have proposed that humans establish a repository of reproductive cells, 6.7 million of them, on the moon. The proposed bank would be beneath the moon's surface. This is a proposal. They're not actually doing it. The study by Jenkin Tanga, whose team at the University of Arizona submitted their report titled Lunar Pits and Lava Tubes of a Modern Ark at the Annual Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers Aerospace Conference in March. Due to the planet's instability, an Earth-based repository would leave specimens vulnerable. As such, Tanga proposed jump-starting a planetary exodus of sorts of founding a human seed vault on the moon as soon as possible. My question would be this. If the Earth has become so uninhabitable that we would not be able to keep a sperm bank on our planet, and we would have to keep the sperm bank on another planet, buried deep in that planet, if this is, who the hell's going to make it to the moon to be able to do anything with these sperms anyway? We all died on planet Earth.
Right.
How the hell is that going to work? Let's shoot it. Let's bury sperm on the moon as an extra sperm bank just to save the world, because this world is uninhabitable. But how the hell are we going to get to the moon to get our sperm? We're all dead on this Earth. And then let's assume we can get there. How the hell is anyone going to know where to dig this up and what to do with it once they dig it up?
This sounds like a good night of some good LA ganja. Like somebody was smoking something and just like thought of the most outlandish thing.
This sounds like some guy got some money to make a report. He's like, I got to write something quick.
Other people out there we don't know. Maybe we're not alone.
I don't know. That seems like the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. And finally, New Jersey native Laura Jasorka says she finds it freeing sharing photos of rock climbing naked. Ha! I'd like to see where she's climbing. Let's see. The 37-year-old climber told Casters News how she started posing for her own natural climbs this year. She said, I instantly fell in love with naked rock climbing. It's very freeing. She quotes, I am more prone to grazes when rock climbing and may end with more scratches, but at least I'm not snagging my clothes. My friends and family admire my photos and they think it's beautiful to see me at one with nature. I'm not doing anything illegal and I don't show off. She said she would hate for others to look at the photos in that sort of way. She finds the pictures artistic. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, is this just being thirsty and promoting pornography or promoting her body or promoting herself, or is this art?
I mean, it's whatever she wants it to be. I'll let her,
Empowering or nude, or just being nude and doing something for promotion?
I mean, we covered a story where there was a group of like young women that went to like different mountains and like Grand Canyons and stuff like that, and they like took pictures of their shirts off, from the back. So I feel like it's empowering. Just feel free, love your body.
Yeah, I agree with them. I just think that's just what she likes to do. It's just part of who she is.
All right, we're all in agreement. Whatever floats your boat. Good luck. You want to climb rocks naked? Be my guest.
Do it.
Who the hell you hurting, right?
Yes.
All right, so that is our Hump Day news for the day, guys. In today's Education, I'm going to break down lawful prospective immigrant status in detail, explain what it could mean for millions of people. Let's watch. My goal is straightforward, to make the law usable and easy to understand for everyone. All of us in the United States have equal rights and should have an equal opportunity and a right to justice. I'm here to help because I want everybody to achieve their American dream. I'm Brad Bernstein, and this is your Immigration for Education. I'm not here to tell you what you want to know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. U.S. immigration law is complex, and the regulations are constantly changing. My objective is to make the law easy for you to understand so that you can use the justice system, know your rights, take advantage of the law, and achieve your American dream. Now, the Pew Research Center estimates that approximately 11 million people living in the United States are out of status. And for the first time in 35 years, an amnesty bill that has a chance to pass has been presented to Congress by President Biden. Called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, the immigration reform bill is 363 pages and offers 5 different amnesties and an overhaul to family and employment-based immigration. Now, keep in mind, this is not law yet and is subject to change and may not even be passed by Congress. But because the Democrats control the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency, people are very excited about this. So let's get into the meat, the substance, the nitty-gritty of one very important section of the United States Citizenship Act of 2021 that will affect the lives of millions of people. Lawful prospective immigrant status. You're going to hear a lot about this. Now, before we get to the amnesty, let me give you a braducation within a braducation. There are 5 categories of immigration status that you can have in America. 1, you can be a United States citizen. 2, you can be a lawful permanent resident. That's somebody with a green card. 3, you can be a non-immigrant. That is someone who is lawfully in the United States with a visa that is temporary in nature, such as a visitor, student, or even somebody on a temporary work visa. 4, you can be in the United States under color of law, which is somebody who is neither a citizen, resident, or non-immigrant, but nevertheless is legal to be in America, such as someone with a pending asylum application, or a pending adjustment of status application, or recipient of deferred action for childhood arrivals known as DACA, or even somebody under temporary protected status known as TPS. Or 5, you can be undocumented because you came to the United States without inspection, or you were inspected as a non-immigrant and overstayed your allotted time on your visa, or you had a green card and were ordered deported and just never left. So now people who are residing in the United States under color of law, as well as those who are undocumented, will be eligible for this new immigration amnesty status that will affect millions of lives. Lawful prospective immigrant status will cover people who are physically in the United States and are undocumented or in the United States under color of law on January 1st, 2021 and pass a background check. Those individuals will receive employment authorization, immediate authorization to travel back and forth to their home country, a social security number, a driver's license, apply for health insurance, and have the ability to apply even for the Affordable Care Act. In fact, anyone with an application pending for lawful prospective immigrant status will not be subject to deportation. And if the status is granted, you still cannot get deported unless you commit a crime, and this status will be good for up to 6 years. Between years 5 and 6 in lawful prospective immigrant status, if you have remained in the United States for 180 days each of those 5 years and have no criminal record barring you, you can then make a new application to adjust your status to lawful resident status and become a green card holder. And once you have a green card, you can decide to keep it for life, or you can apply for U.S. citizenship 3 years after you adjust your status, and you can become a United States citizen. All right, and by the way, that is not law yet. That is what Joe Biden's proposing. There are no necessarily updates on that at the moment. We're hoping something will happen by the end of the year. In the meantime, if you want to watch all of my braducations, you can check it out on onlyfans.com. TV. I am proud to say I am the first lawyer on OnlyFans. I may be also the first person to keep his clothes on. Now, I'm sure there's other people too. But certainly the first lawyer on OnlyFans. Check out all of our educations. It's free. I don't charge for it. There's no monthly fee. There's no nothing. I give it all for free. Check it out on onlyfans.tv. All right, let's get into something we like to call me with your immigration questions. I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability and getting answers to your immigration questions. Let's go to Kay in Atlanta, Georgia. Kay in Atlanta, Georgia. Kay.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good. Okay, I have two questions for you. My first question is about myself. I did my adjustment of status, and I filed in April 2020. And coming July of this year will be 2 years since I've been married. I received my EAD and my Social Security, but haven't received my interview date. What should I do?
Wait, don't do anything till after July. You are this close to getting your permanent 10-year card and not a 2-year card. If your interview comes after the 2-year anniversary of your marriage, you're going to get a 10-year green card, not a 2-year. You only have to go through this process one time. Your adjustment application's been pending for how long?
Since April.
Of what year?
2020.
All right. Do nothing. August 1st, call me. We'll start threatening pre-litigation mandamus. At that point, you've been married for more than 2 years. You'll get a 10-year green card.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My second question is for a friend. She came here on a H-2B visa since December 2016, and she worked, and she extended her time, and she received the extension. She tried to do an extension a second time, but it's still showing that they received it, but she hadn't received a notice. She fell in love, got married, had a son, but she was abused physically and mentally. And now she's in the process of divorcing, but they did not file any paperwork.
She needs to file a
Vawa. So she want to know what's her chance now.
If she was physically and emotionally abused and they have a child together, her chances are excellent. It's sad that she had to go through that, but she should immediately file a Vawa application, a Violence Against Women Act application. She has to prove that she was in a bona fide marriage. They have a child together. What more proof is that? And they got to prove that she was physically and emotionally abused. We would have to hear her story and prove it. The statute of limitations is running on her now because you only have 2 years from the time of a divorce to file a Vawa case or forever hold your peace. So once the divorce is started, you better start doing something immediately with immigration or you're going to be out of luck. So she should be calling me immediately.
I think she just did the divorce like a month ago.
She needs, the statute of limitations starting to run now. So let her call me.
All right. Thank you.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great evening.
Okay. Let's go to Linda in San Antonio, Texas. Linda.
Yes.
Hi,
Hello.
Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hi, Brian.
What's going on?
Yeah, I filed for adjustment of status. That was 2018. After my husband and I got married, and we went for an interview. The case was denied, and then our lawyer filed for an appeal.
You don't do an appeal. You do a motion to reopen.
Yeah, she did because I was placed on deportation. That I came on a student visa and I overstayed my student visa.
So you appealed the I-130.
Yeah, my lawyer appealed for it. So right now I'm having problem with my husband. He left the house and he said he wanted a divorce because we did the we did the health insurance application. And
all right, so this is your issue. You're in deportation. Immigration doesn't believe it's a real marriage. You've appealed. You should have filed a new I-130. Your husband's leaving you. So you got big issues. Was there abuse in the relationship?
No, it's just because I don't work anymore. So he's like, he can stay with me because I don't work, I don't bring in any income, I'm just consuming.
Linda, it sounds like you're going to get deported here. Things are not looking up for you. I think you need a consultation. All right, hold on one second, okay? I don't have an answer for you, but you need a consultation. Let's go to Kim in New York. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, Kim.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I have 3 questions for you, okay? I am married, and I have a 2-year green card, and my husband up and left. He disappeared, and I can't find him. By the end of this year, I need to file for adjustment of status. So my question is, what are my chances? What are my options?
You don't need to file.
And can I do this alone?
No, you can't do it. Well, you're asking a lawyer if you could do it alone, and a lawyer will always say no. But I will even say even more important to you, you can't do it alone for 2 reasons. One, you already know in your head, somewhere in the back of your head, you know you can't do it alone because you're asking the question, can I do it alone? And 2, I know you can't do it alone because you're not even using the right terminology. Okay, you have a 2-year green card. You're not adjusting your status. You're removing the conditions of your permanent residence.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's all right. Don't be sorry. You wouldn't know. So to remove the conditions of your permanent residence, you need your husband's signature. He disappeared. If your husband disappeared, you need a waiver of his signature. There are 3 ways to get the waiver. You get a divorce from him. You do it on your own. You prove abuse, or you prove that there would be some extraordinary hardship to you if you had to be returned back to your home country. The easiest of the 3, always, is you get divorced, which is easy to do, and then you just file on your own and prove it was a real marriage and you're divorced. That's how you handle it.
And how like I prove this is a real marriage?
Just
he
like
took all the bills.
Okay,
with him.
just like anything else, you prove a real marriage 2 ways. You prove you lived with the man. You prove you had a financial relationship with him. So you filed a joint tax return. You had a bank account together. Any bills in yours and his name. You get something from the landlord. You get affidavits from your neighbors that you live together, pictures of you and him together with friends and family, social media. Even if he took things, you could always call companies up and ask for duplicate copies of things. So
yeah, I tried that, and like there's a lock on it, like code or something. I couldn't get in.
Okay, you're making excuses. If you lived with him, you can prove it. All right, hold on one second, okay? It's not about you going online. Call the company up and say, hey, I'm locked out of my account. I mean, you can do things. Hold on. Let's go to Annette in Orange, New Jersey. Annette.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
What could I do to help you?
Pleasant good afternoon to you and your team.
Thank you.
Okay, so I filed a petition for my son who's in Jamaica. His case is now at the NVC. But I'm really concerned that he'll age out.
How old is he?
He turned 21.
He turned 21 already?
Yeah.
Okay, and you filed for him in the F2A category?
Pardon me?
You filed for him as a permanent resident?
Yes.
When did you file for him?
I filed for him 2019. The priority date is 9th of September 2019.
You paid the fees?
Yes, I paid all the fees already.
Did you pay all the fees before you turned 21?
No, because I got the petition was approved in January.
I would need to see are they giving you the F2A or F2B category? What did they do?
It's the F2A category. It's the F2A category.
It sounds like he's protected under the Child Status Protection Act. Once you pay the fees, his age is frozen. So if you have an I-130 filed, you get to add on the time it took for the I-130 to get approved onto his 21st birthday. If you pay the fees before 21 years plus the time of an I-130 took to get approved, His age is frozen. It sounds like his age is frozen in the F2A category. I would need to see the copy of the I-130 and the fee bills, but it sounds like he's going to be okay. So hold on one second. Okay? So don't be as concerned as I sounded like in the beginning. Lance in Las Vegas, New Jersey, Las Vegas, Nevada. Lance, how are you?
What did you say?
I said, Lance, how are you? That's what I said.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
I do hear you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so thanks for taking my call, Brad. I've got a situation that's very complex. It's about 4 questions. My wife was involved in a serious accident.
I don't hear a word you're saying. It sounds like you're in a submarine.
Okay, I was going to say thanks for taking my call. I've got about 4 questions here. My wife was involved in a serious accident in Canada in 2017, or pardon me, 2019, and she ended up filing for a travel document, 2-year travel document after that in the end of September.
I don't know what you mean by a 2-year travel document. She has a green card, your wife?
Pardon me?
She has a green card?
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
Okay.
she's a permanent resident, has been since 2017.
Okay.
So,
you're talking way too fast. Let me just understand. So, unfortunately, sadly, she got into an accident in Canada, and then she applied for a re-entry permit. Is that what she did?
no, she was on a travel document at the time because she was working in Canada.
So she was already on. I guess there's no such thing as travel document. So she has a green card.
Re-entry permit then.
A re-entry permit. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and she was working in Canada. We have a residence there, residence here in Arizona, and so she went after the accident. Like I said, she was seriously injured, couldn't work for quite a long time. She's still even today getting medical treatment weekly, 2 to 3 times a week, but they're saying that will probably come to an end this July. Now, what's happened is she applied again on the 28th of September. She left the country, and we sent a UPS 2-day with tracking, signature, et cetera. And
when
she left the country. She left the U.S.
Okay. When she applied for the re-entry permit, she was in the United States when she did it.
We gave it to UPS on the 28th of September. She left the country on September 30th.
Did USCIS receive the application when she was physically present?
But this is what happened. They scheduled a biometrics appointment for her in November. She came back for that, and then after that, she went back to Canada. I went up as well, and then in January, they sent an email saying they had sent a letter to our Quartzsite address in Arizona saying that the reentry permit had been denied because she was out of the country by 1 day when they received it. They received it October 1.
Right.
But at this point, like I said, she's up there. She didn't actually see the email till February, but regardless, that's when COVID starts blowing up all over the place.
So this is the deal. Okay, number one, you have to be 2 feet in the ground in the United States of America physically, not when you put it in the mail, but when immigration receives the application. So if they said they received it October 1st, unless that's an error and you have proof that they received it before then you're out of luck. You didn't follow the right procedure. Now, what she should do is, if she wants to come back to the United States, which I assume she does, and which is why you're calling, she should apply for what's called an Sb1 visa up in Canada. So what she does is she goes to the U.S. Embassy and applies for a special visa to return to the United States to keep her lawful residence. And what she has to show is prove that she never intended to relinquish her lawful residence. So how do you prove that she didn't want to relinquish her permanent residence? She has a home there. She has her husband there. She applied for a reentry permit and wanted to keep her green card, but screwed it up procedurally. She got injured in Canada, so she was having trouble living in America. She had a temporary job in Canada. She always intended to return to America. So you apply for this Sb1 visa at the U.S. Embassy abroad, and she should get it.
Okay, good to know. Okay, so there's a little more to this. We also have two adult children that we applied for green cards for, and they've just become, their priority dates have just become current. So I'm thinking I don't want to move forward with moving because she's a co-sponsor on this.
Okay.
So I should delay their, moving forward with their.
She can't be a co-sponsor if she doesn't have a green card. So what?
That's what I mean.
Right. So what? Again, going back to what I said 30 seconds ago, get her the Sb1 visa. She re-enters the United States as a lawful resident, and then she could be the co-sponsor, and B, then you can try to redo your re-entry permit, or she could live permanently in America, whatever she wants.
Okay. So two more questions. One. She didn't file taxes for 2 years because she doesn't have to, on the premise that she qualifies for 2555, residing outside the U.S., working for a foreign country.
All right.
Company.
All right. So let me stop there. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about taxes, but what I do know is this: if you're a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, you always have to file a tax return, whether or not she has to actually pay taxes. That's a different story. But to say,
she doesn't owe them anything.
But to say you don't have to file a tax return is different than I don't owe anything. I would go to a tax preparer. It sounds like she should be filing tax returns, and she should be filing late ones.
Yes, because which goes back to if she's going to surrender her card. I mean, I don't know how to go about that. Should she just go there?
If she's going to surrender her card, she goes.
I mean, if she's going to lose it anyway.
Well, she's not going to lose it. I just told you how to keep it.
Okay.
But if she wants to lose it.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, then I just told you how to keep it. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
If she wants to lose it, she just goes and says, I have a green card. I don't want to have a green card anymore. And you give it up, and then she doesn't have to pay taxes. And then in the future, in the future, you're a U.S. citizen, you can refile for her. But if she wants to keep her green card, do the Sb1 visa.
No, okay. Well, I just heard that if you haven't filed your taxes and you lose your green card, there's penalties for it.
I don't penalties for what? Immigration or for taxes?
For not filing your taxes when they take your card.
There's a penalty for not filing a tax return. Has nothing to do with your green they card. Take your green card or not. You are a permanent resident of the United States unless you have the only place in the world that I'm aware of that you can be a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen and not owe taxes. You still have to file a tax return. Everybody's got to file a tax return. U.S. citizen, permanent resident, file the tax return. Doesn't matter. You got to file it. If you earned any income, you got to file it. All right.
I understand.
So I don't know any place. Actually, I was going to say the only place, and then I take it back. I don't know any place where you don't have to file a tax return. So she needs to speak to a tax preparer, file back tax returns. If she owes nothing, she owes nothing.
Okay.
And then do the Sb1. All right, we got to go to the next question. And if you need more help, hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's go to Larica in Columbia, Maryland.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay. This is a situation. I'm a Brit, and my dad was born in Liberia, so I filed for the Liberian
amnesty.
But the problem I have was I've not been able to get the documentation.
All right. Well, did your dad qualify for the Liberian amnesty? Was he here?
No, he's passed. He's dead.
He's dead. When did he die?
About 3 years ago.
Okay, but he was
before the Liberian amnesty.
All right. I have to go brush back up on Liberian amnesty. About when did you come to the United States?
94.
Okay, but you are a Liberian citizen.
Well, I wasn't born in Liberia. I thought do you have Liberian? It through my dad's citizenship.
Okay, you can't do it through your dad's citizenship, as far as I'm aware. But I got to brush up on Liberian amnesty. But if you are a Liberian, you can do it one of two ways. If your dad applies for the Liberian amnesty and qualifies, you qualify. Doesn't matter where you're born. Okay? Or you prove you're a Liberian citizen. I don't know of any Liberian amnesty where your dad's a Liberian citizen, passes away, and you still qualify for Liberian amnesty being a British citizen. That I never heard of.
Okay.
So if you can prove your Liberian amnesty, then, and I haven't read the amnesty law, Liberian amnesty in a good while, but I'm telling you what I recall, which is, not recall, I remember, you got to prove your Liberian amnesty.
Right.
So do you gain, I don't know anything about Liberian citizenship. Do you gain, you have to prove your Liberian citizenship to get the Liberian amnesty. That's what I meant to say. So I don't know anything about Liberian citizenship. Are you a Liberian citizen? Do you have a Liberian passport?
Not right now.
Do you qualify for Liberian citizenship?
Well, I thought I did, but I'm having problems being here, being able to get a passport. If I could go, and I would get it, but so that's the thing. So because I don't want to leave and not be able to come back in.
All right. So we would have to research Liberian citizenship law. If you are a citizen by doing nothing, then you're a citizen, If you have to actually do something to gain your Liberian citizenship, then you're not.
Okay, but the present issue is that I filed because I didn't know there would be an extension.
The present issue is you don't qualify for Liberian amnesty unless you prove you're a Liberian citizen. That's your issue.
No, but that's not the only issue. The other issue now is that I've received documentation to do the biometric.
Okay, so do it, but you're still going to ultimately have to prove you're a Liberian citizen.
Well, not just that, and I have the RFE too, and I'm being advised not to do it if I'm not sure I'm going to get it. So what would be the point of doing that?
I'm advising you to prove your Liberian citizenship. That's the point. And if you are, you are, and if you're not, you're not.
Okay, but now that I can't right now, can I cancel?
No, there's no cancel. You're either a Liberian citizen or you're not a Liberian citizen. End of story. Okay? There are people who are citizens of the United States who are not born in the United States. And they don't have to do anything. They just have to prove their parent was a U.S. citizen when they were born. Okay? And you're an automatic U.S. citizen, whether you have a U.S. passport or not. Automatic U.S. citizen. What is the law for Liberia? I don't know. So you're being advised. I'm advising you to figure out what the law of Liberia is. If you're an automatic Liberian citizen, you prove it. And if not, then you don't qualify and leave it alone.
Okay, so in the event that, theoretically, if I want to leave it alone, there's no need to do the biometric then?
Correct.
Okay. And then how does it, do they just ignore it when the
No,
RFP?
you may get deported. They may come after you for deportation. You just told them you're here illegally.
Okay.
You need help. Hold on. You're getting bad advice. Tasha in New York.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Tasha.
Hello?
Tasha, hi.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
What's going on?
I have a question. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm at work, so maybe hear that out of nice.
Okay.
I filed my paperwork last year, December, and I haven't get to do any fingerprint. Can you tell me when would I do like the fingerprint?
What paperwork did you file? I don't know what paperwork you filed.
Oh, I'm married to a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
And he filed for...
Did you get a receipt notice for the I-45 and the I-130 and everything?
Yes, I get all of that, the receipt.
And did you get an RFE for additional evidence that was missing?
I don't hear you.
Did you get any letter that you were missing evidence?
No, I don't get any letter that I missed any evidence.
Okay. And when did you file this?
But I received a letter from the I-693, and it said definition notice, something like that.
A what notice?
Definition. I can't remember exactly, but I know I get a letter.
Tasha, I don't know what definition notice means. All I can tell you is if you filed an adjustment last year, something should have happened by now. I would need to see what you filed and see where you screwed up and fix it. So hold on one second, okay? Honestly, hold on. All right, let's go to Vanessa in Philadelphia. Vanessa.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm calling for a friend. He fell for his mom in Liberia since 2019. she went for interview and then they asked her for more documents, which they submit, but up till now they haven't heard nothing from the embassy.
What was the documents that they were missing?
To prove that I think he filed that the kids was her grandchildren or children, and they asked her to prove birth paper and so on, which she submitted. And
they had to prove what? That it was the son and not the grandchild filing?
No, our son filed for her here in the U.S. He's a citizen, but she's living in Liberia.
I understand. What was the document? What was the problem at the embassy that she couldn't get through? Is my question.
Oh, he added her children on it, which was his brothers and sister on it, and they wanted.
I know, but they don't come anyway. They don't come. That wasn't the problem.
Okay.
What was the problem? Nobody knows what the problem was then.
No, we don't know. They haven't said nothing.
I don't know what the problem was either. So the solution is that I can call the embassy, find out what the problem is, speak to the head honcho, the big cheese there, and find out what the problem is, then come back and report and say, this is the problem, let's fix it. Okay, until then, I don't have the slightest idea. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's go to Alex in Chicago. Alex.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, Brad. I have a question about, we applied for my petition for marriage to a U.S. citizen last year, September 2020. And on April 8th, they approved the work permit and the travel document, April 8th. And then we didn't hear anything while waiting for the card being produced. And today, they said that they opened the case for reconsideration for earlier decision. What does this mean?
Well, they approved it, and now they're reopening it. That means that means they want to rescind the approval. There's a problem with your case.
Oh, okay. So it was approved last month, and then
they're reopening it. Means they're taking a look at it again. Maybe they should not have approved this. So I don't know what you did wrong or where it screwed up. But if you're asking me, if I get an approval and then a month later I get a letter saying they're reopening the case, what they're saying is we're reopening this decision. This decision was probably an error. We got to re-review it again. So it sounds like you guys got a problem on this case. Why, how, what you did wrong, how you fix it. Hold on, let's figure it out. Let's go to Harp in Los Angeles. Harp.
So give me a second. Hello?
Hi, Harp. How are you?
Hi, this is a Harpreet. I'm on the phone. Just give me. Hi. So this is a Harpreet. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So my wife came to USA approximately 45 days ago, and my concern is that how should I can get her health insurance? Can I apply to a Covered California? That would be a public church.
Your wife came 80 days ago to the United States.
45 days ago. 45 days ago.
How did she come here?
She's my wife. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Did she come with a green card? Did she come on a visitor's visa? Did she swim from her country? How did she come here to America?
She got on a green card. I sponsored her.
Okay, so she has her green card. Go get any Obama insurance you want. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, so it wouldn't be any public church?
No.
Okay, can I ask you one more quick question? So, give me a second. So, when I was going to apply for her social, and they were asking if she's on any public, if she's receiving any public benefits.
Zero.
Yeah, she's not receiving any public.
Obamacare is not public benefits.
Obamacare is not public benefits. Okay, appreciate it for your hard work. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Abdul in Newark, New Jersey. Abdul in Newark, New Jersey. Going once.
Hello?
Abdul, how are you?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you, Abdul. How are you?
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So I have a couple of questions. Well, I have two questions.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I'm at work if you hear a lot of noise in the background. So I came here in 2016. However, I filed for asylum when I came, right?
Right.
and I got married to a U.S. citizen. And I filed petition May of this year. What do you recommend I do? Should I withdraw the asylum?
Withdraw the asylum. Did you file an adjustment?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yes. And you have not been put in removal or anything yet. You haven't had your asylum.
No.
Withdraw the asylum and just go for your adjustment. Withdraw the asylum.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, all right, no problem. Thank you.
Good luck. All right, let's go to Ali in Boston. Ali.
Hello?
Hi, Ali. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
I have a question for you. So
Sure.
I filled out like a couple years ago for my daughter, but the guy, he was a fill out the paper for me. He do like she's married, she has 2 kids, but he do like a single. So now 2 days ago, the visa center they sent me to start in the process. So I just want to have to keep doing like as a single, but she already have a kids. She married and have 2 kids.
Let me get this clear. Your daughter is married. You filed for her as single. The man lied. You just called up the show and say you lied as well because you know about this. Should you continue to lie or not? What would you expect my answer to be? All right, you got a problem, okay? You're committing a misrepresentation. From now on, I would not call a live show where there's not an attorney-client privilege and admit to what could be even criminal. Hold on 1 second. You need a privileged conversation, okay? And my answer is tell the truth. Let's go to Jackie in the Bronx. Jackie.
Hey, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Okay, so I have a question. In a couple years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I got my green card and all of that, my 10 years. So I didn't file for my citizenship. I waited until I got my divorce. So I was divorced in 2019. And so if I'm divorced, so I have to drop my my husband's name. But my green card, it says my husband's name.
All right,
Hello?
so I'm listening. I'm trying to follow your question. If I get it correct, you got your green card through marriage, and your green card has your married name, but you're divorced, and everything else has your maiden name.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your question?
So the thing is, if I want to go back home, would that be a problem?
So your passport's in your maiden name. Green card and passport and maiden name, green card and married name, correct?
Yeah, the green card is just married name, no maiden name at all. Just married.
So you have two. You can do one of two things, or you can do both. One is you travel with your green card, your certified divorce decree, and your passport, and you show I am now divorced, and here's my maiden name, and you can show all these documents. You could also file an I-90 application. This, to me, seems the more reasonable thing to do. If it was an emergency, travel with the divorce, the green card, and the passport, and you're fine. But the more reasonable...
So that wouldn't be a problem?
No, but they're going to look at everything. And, when you say it's not a problem, everything is relative. All right? You want to go seamlessly through the airport. You're not going to go seamlessly through the airport with a passport and a divorce decree and a green card. But all of these documents will show you are who you are, and it's going to be fine. It's just everyone's going to be looking at everything. What is the smarter thing to do is file an I-90 application, show that you need to replace your green card because you want to change your name to your maiden name, and they will mail you a new green card with your maiden name on it. If you need to travel between now and the time you get your new green card in your maiden name, when you get the receipt notice back for the new green card in your maiden name, you can make an InfoPass appointment, go down to immigration, they'll put a temporary stamp in your passport that has your maiden name, and now you don't have to travel through with divorce decrees and everything else.
Or I could file for my citizenship.
Or
right?
file for your citizenship.
Okay.
If you're not going to travel in the next 7-9 months.
Alrighty.
All right.
I just want to make sure I do what I got to do.
All right.
Okay, Brett. Thanks very
Thumbs
much.
up.
I appreciate your help.
All right. You're welcome. Good luck.
Okay, bye.
All right. And by the way, if you did not get your immigration questions answered, you could always follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. Sometimes it takes me a day or 2 or even 3 days to answer your questions. But if you drop me a DM on at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram, you are talking to me directly, not somebody else. And I do answer questions to the best of my ability, or I'll tell you to make an appointment to have a consultation, depending on how complicated an issue you're asking me. In addition to that, you can always follow me or follow our entire show at Brad Show Live if you can't handle 2 hours of me answering immigration questions and schmoozing. I said schmoozing twice wrong. Schmoozing and answering social media questions and everything else. But you can handle 30 seconds. Watch at Brad Show Live on Instagram, or follow us on at Brad Show Live on Instagram. And our newest, biggest thing is TikTok. TikTok's blowing away everybody else. We have over 15,000 followers on TikTok in like 4 or 5 weeks. Follow us on TikTok for the best 60 seconds TikTok videos. Brad Show Live. Follow us on TikTok. Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
Yes, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
All right. And later in the show, Vanessa is going to speak with partner and immigration attorney Shannon LaGuerre Maingrette about a recent Spar and Bernstein case in which a Jamaican couple who had lived in churches for more than 2 years to avoid deportation are about to become United States green card holders.
And now, New York Fire Department Lieutenant and the FDNY's first Asian American female firefighter, Serena Srisakul, tells us the #1 change she would like to see in U.S. immigration reform. Now, squad, I need to know what you would like to see as well. Let us know in the comments.
What is the #1 change you want to see in U.S. immigration reform?
The most pressing would be the refugee cap, and that it's just such a international crime to not allow refugees into this country. That's what this country was founded on. People are fleeing for their lives, and there should be just an open door policy for refugees.
All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. What do we got?
All right. Our first one comes from Crystal Perry, Brad Squad VIP member. And in order to become a VIP member, super easy. Just go to Facebook and go into the search engine, put in Brad Squad. And then if it's a page that says you have to request to join, that is the correct page. We will accept it. And you can throw in your questions anytime throughout the day. We're going to take the first 5 questions and put them before any of the social media check-in questions. So Crystal Perry did that, and her question is, how long after receiving my welcome letter can I pay fees? My file isn't allowing me to open any applications due to the limited visa available, but I got the welcome letter and created the case. Do I pay fees first or wait until the profile says pay now?
Pay fees to get your green card? You should be able to do it immediately if you have a welcome letter.
Ansha Ipolite, another Brad Squad VIP member, asked, I noticed that whenever I travel outside the country, upon my return, I'm being taken to the back in an immigration room before I am able to leave the airport. I have no idea why. How do I stop this from happening again? I have no criminal history or background.
Well, that's the bad boy room, as we like to say. That means that they think you're maybe somebody else who's a bad person. So have you asked them, why are you stopping me all the time? What the hell's going on? And if they don't have any answers for you, the next thing you do is you have to write the Department of Homeland Security at their headquarters in Washington, D.C., and tell them to take you off the watch list. You're on a watch list. So you have like this red flag that keeps popping in every time you travel. If you are squeaky clean and no skeletons in your background, that means that they're mixing you up with somebody else. So you got to write them and say, hey, this is a mix-up. I shouldn't be harassed every time I come in the airport. You guys have better things to do than to harass a guy who's squeaky clean or gal who's squeaky clean. Take me off this list. And you may need the help of a lawyer to do that.
Mark Lowe, another VIP Brad Squad member. I am a U.S. citizen turning 21 years old in October 2021. Can I petition for my parents who overstayed on their M1 visas for green cards, even though they currently work illegally, but they do file taxes with valid Social Security cards?
Yes, if you're a U.S. citizen, your parents entered the country legally, even if they worked out of status or illegal, as you like to say, they can adjust their status nevertheless, and you should do so immediately.
Okay, this one's a little lengthy. This one comes from Amarachi Chesa, another Brad Squad VIP member. My mom filed for her B2 visa extension in May of 2020, but due to COVID, she didn't receive a response from USCIS until December of 2020. At that point, her recent US citizen daughter, who is 30 years old, filed an I-130 and I-485 for her, and she has since received receipt numbers. Then in March of 2021, USCIS sent her the I-539 form for her biometrics and requested initial evidence of her ties to her home country, which she already submitted in May of 2021. Do you think the I-539 RFE is affecting the approval of her adjustment of status and green card application?
Well, you're doing two things simultaneously that kind of going against each other. Number one, you're filing to extend your status on a tourist visa, and at the same time, your daughter's applying for your green card. You can't be saying in one petition you want to stay here as a visitor, and in another petition you want to get your green card. It's even could possibly be a misrepresentation. Before you go one step further, you should have an attorney review it all.
Fatu Nidia, our Brad Squad VIP member. If I'm in removal proceedings, can I just ask the judge to withdraw the case?
No, the judge isn't going to just withdraw the case if you're in removal. You're getting deported unless you have a reason not to get deported. Hello? McFly?
Listen.
That's a McFly question. Hey, if I'm in deportation, can I just ask the judge not to deport me?
Z on YouTube, what if my spouse and I attended our USCIS marriage-based green card interview, but then we didn't file taxes together?
That's a problem because she's showing you don't have a joint economic relationship, which is part of the way to prove it's a real marriage. Go amend your taxes.
Island Girl on YouTube. If I got married in October 2018 and I'm still married and I filed for my 10-year green card already, when can I file for the citizenship?
3 years from the time you got your conditional green card.
Kareen Padmore on YouTube, if I overstayed my visa and I go to Jamaica for my interview, do I need to get an I-601 waiver to come back to America?
Yes, it's an I-601A. You should do it before you leave America, so that way you only have to stay home for a week or two. If you leave and then don't have the 601A, you got to do the 601 waiver from Jamaica, which will take over a year to get approved. If it does get approved, it may be denied and then you're stuck home.
Andreas IT Service on YouTube. I am Venezuelan, applied for TPS even though I have a sister's petition approved. I applied for I-601A and I'm wondering if I have the TPS. Will I have to go out of the U.S. For my interview even with TPS?
Yes.
29 Super C on YouTube. What is the procedure and evidence needed to get a national interest exemption so that my case can be moved from the NVC to the U.S. Embassy? It's for an approved I-140.
Yeah, I think I've answered this question before, which is you have to show that your employment in America will benefit the United States on a national basis, not on a local basis.
Uche Jidiofor on Facebook. What can I do if it has been 4 months since I filed for Vawa and have yet to receive a receipt from USCIS?
Well, hopefully you filed an adjustment too and you have a receipt for the adjustment, but if you haven't heard anything, that's a problem after 4 months.
Earth Angel Pierre on YouTube. Do I need to sign authorization as my son's father in order to file for him since he is living in North Dakota? He claims it's the state law.
File what?
Yeah, they don't say.
I don't know what you're filing, and there's no state law. You're talking about taxes? You're talking about an immigration paperwork? I don't know what you're talking about, so be more specific and we'll get back to you.
Ramon Joseph on Facebook. If my husband went for his green card interview in January 2021, how long will it take for him to receive his green card?
Did he get approved? If he got approved, 8-12 weeks. If he didn't get approved, he could be pending for a year or longer. Who knows?
KJ on YouTube, what is the current processing time for a lawful permanent resident to receive a work permit?
A lawful permanent resident doesn't need a work permit because you already have your green card, so therefore that is your work permit. 3 questions in a row that made absolutely no sense, but it is what it is. I don't hear you, Jonathan. I don't hear you, Jonathan. I still don't hear you, Jonathan. Still don't hear you, Jonathan. Vanessa wanted to, okay, now I hear you,
How about,
Jonathan. Now
okay, Sandra on Facebook. A friend of mine has been in the U.S. for over 3 years now and filed for asylum after a year of being here. Now she passed her nursing board exam. It was an NCLEXRN.
NCLEX.
But it's the nursing board exam.
The NCLEX.
And was hired by an agency. Would her I-450 be approved, being that she filed asylum after 1 year of entering the USA?
The I-485 you're talking about, you meaning an adjustment application getting sponsored as a registered nurse. It doesn't sound like you're eligible to adjust your status here if you came to the United States and then applied for asylum 1 year later.
Kashal near Ruala on YouTube, how long will the motion to change venue take? I'm in Dallas and want to move to NYC.
Months and months and months. You're talking about a removal hearing, I guess, change of venue.
Carolyn on YouTube. I meet the property guidelines this year plus have a house. How many years are needed? Will I be okay?
You meet the poverty guidelines this year plus you have a house. How many years are needed? I will be okay, is the question.
And it says property guidelines. It doesn't even say poverty.
Poverty guidelines. You own a house. I don't know what you mean by how many years. Are you okay? You need 3 years tax returns to file to be a petitioner, 125% above the poverty level. If you own a house, you can take the 20% of the equity in the house and put it towards the poverty guidelines. That's my answer. Has nothing to do with your question, but that's my answer.
Anna Lee Parker on Facebook, you just mentioned waiting until after 2 years of marriage, 2 years since filing the adjustment before contacting USCIS. Can we do the same with an Adam Walsh Act, or do we definitely have to wait on them for that?
No, you can do the same thing. And I was just saying for that particular caller that she's so close to the 2 year mark already, why force to have an immigration interview and end up with a conditional card that if you wait another 30 days, you'll get a 10-year card and never have to deal with this again. As far as Adam Walsh waiver is concerned, if you're waiting more than a year or 2 years, you should get somebody involved. All right, 2 more.
Dadre Graham, or Dadre and Graham, Facebook. If your fiance is a green card holder and his spouse is out of status, what's the other ways his partner can get a green card?
His sponsor, say it again, who is a green card holder, spouse is out of status?
The fiance is a green card holder and his spouse is out of status.
Get married and file an I-130 and a provisional waiver, go home and come back.
Last one is from Oluwal OK on YouTube. If my priority date is March 16th, 2020, when do you think my I-130 approval and interview will come?
Who's filing for you? Where did you file? Where are you? I have no idea when your I-130 will get approved. An I-130 is a form. I would need to know a lot more than that. All right. This is a nice story. Vanessa spoke with Spar and Bernstein partner and immigration attorney Shannon LaGuerre Maingrette about a recent case in which a couple from Jamaica who had been seeking sanctuary from deportation by living in Philadelphia area churches for over 2 years are now back at home in New Jersey and about to become proud green card holders. Let's watch.
Chat Squad. Vanessa Contreras here with Spar and Bernstein partner and immigration attorney Shannon Maingrette to discuss a recent successful case in which a couple who had been seeking sanctuary from deportation by living in churches for 2.5 years are finally back in their New Jersey home and waiting for their green card approvals. Hey, Shannon.
Hi, how are you, Vanessa? How's everything?
I am well. Let's get into it. Can you share what are the facts in this case?
A couple come to the United States. They are from the island of Jamaica, and they came in and they applied for asylum. So 2005, they end up actually in front of an immigration judge because their application for asylum was denied or referred to immigration court by the asylum office. So they go in front of the judge, and it's a lengthy process. They end up actually having their case heard. Their asylum claim was that they were basically being threatened and persecuted by gangs in Jamaica. And they wanted to be able to be protected by the United States government because they feel that if they go back to Jamaica, they were going to be persecuted again by these gangs. Their home was set on fire by these gang members. And so ultimately, when they went in front of the immigration judge and the judge heard their testimony and their case, the judge ends up denying their case in 2008. The reason for denial was that they were unable to show the connection between the gang members' actions and a protective reason. So they have to show that the gangs were either persecuting them to, let's say, their political opinion, or maybe because of their nationality, or maybe because of their sexual orientation, or maybe because they were a woman or a man, or their religion. You have to show something that basically it's a protected identity. Like, why should you be protected? And so you have to show that characteristic. Unfortunately, the judge basically stated that, yes, I mean, gang members did come in, they did burn down, but it's violence. It's violence that's going on in the country. And there's not a reason that they were targeting you that we need to protect. It's just violence that's going on in the country. And so at that point, they were denied. This went all the way up to the federal court, the Third Circuit. So once they were denied, they actually appealed their case in a timely manner to the Board of Immigration Appeals. And then afterwards, the Board of Immigration Appeals agreed with the immigration judge, took it to the federal court, but that was also rejected. And then at that point, basically, they did a motion to reopen with the board, and that was denied. So at that point, they end up having an order of removal. And that order of removal for both mother and father, husband and wife, basically was in place. And they had something called an order of supervision. And the way that I explain it to people is it's similar to probation. So you now have this order of removal. The government can remove you. And an order of supervision is that every year or so, they tell you to come to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement office, and they're checking up on you. Have you been arrested? Have you done anything wrong? And they usually do these for people who have children, who have family members. There's a reason to keep them in the country. And so literally from 2008 up until recently, they were on this order of supervision where they were actually being routinely checked upon. I mean, they had small children that were born in this country. So they had a reason to stay to take care of these children. So the officers allowed them to do that in spite of the order of removal. And also their case was going through the system. And so that's really ultimately what ends up happening. But Trump comes into office in 2018. The officers were like, we're going to have to deport you. And at that point, a stay of removal was put into place. That was ultimately denied. And that's when they ended up going into the church for protection purposes.
Okay, Shannon, so the couple had been in the United States since 2005, and they were hardworking people. What did they do for a living?
The husband was in construction, so he was working there, very hardworking, supported his family on that income. And his wife was a nursing assistant. I ended up speaking to the wife. She had called the office for a consultation, actually during the pandemic, and explained that she was staying at a church, and this was her story. This was what was going on. And she really talked about the fact that she wanted to help. I mean, she emphasized that so much, like with what's going on, she feels that she has the skills to be able to contribute. And as you know, there was like a shortage of nurses and doctors. They wanted a lot of people to come in and help with this pandemic. You had a lot of nurses retiring in fear of getting sick. And she was just like, I want to help. And I am forced to remain in this church because I need to remain in the country to be there for my children, you know, but I want to help. And what can you do with this? And at that point, basically, I indicated that we would be able to do a motion to reopen an immigration court because she actually already had an approved I-130. Her daughter, who's over the age of 21 and is a US citizen, had petitioned for both mom and dad, and that had been approved. So that part was done and over with, and that was great. So next step was filing a motion to reopen the court case so they can be able to get their green card through the daughter.
And now, Shannon, how many members of the family moved into the church?
Mm-hmm. So there were 2 younger children that were actually staying with them that needed to be supervised, obviously, in their early teens. So they were US citizens, remained with mom and dad, and the older daughter was living on her own.
And where was the church located?
The church was located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Certainly, immigration, there's basically these laws that are in place that there's guidance also that immigration and customs enforcement should not be going to certain places that are considered safe or sanctuaries, churches, schools, that they won't go into these areas in order to get people. So houses of worship, they're trying not to go into these places in order to apprehend people, especially for removal orders. And so that's where they were at that particular time.
And Shannon, can you explain why people move into churches to avoid deportation?
They basically at this time, usually it's almost like a last ditch effort. It's like, what do I do? They're coming after me. I've had individuals who were in a similar situation as this couple who years have been living here, have children, are working, and now they're being told that this removal order from years ago that they're going to now enforce and they're going to deport. And at that point, they're afraid. And it's like, okay, obviously I need more time. So they end up going to these sanctuaries, these safe places where they understand that they will not be apprehended or taken by immigration and customs enforcement. And it also allows them to be able to get an attorney to be able to assist them, just like this couple did, to ultimately prevail in court.
And how many undocumented people are currently living in sanctuary in churches around the country?
There are about 40 people in the United States living in churches, and it's in about 16 states or so.
I can imagine living in a sanctuary situation can be very difficult.
Absolutely. It's certainly difficult in normal times, right? Because you're now away from the comforts of your home, being able to be familiar with what's going on in your home, but you're now living in a sanctuary, a church setting. Basically, you have different rules now that are being applied to you. So very difficult. You understand that it's a blessing, I guess, because at the end of the day, you're being protected and you won't be deported, but also very difficult because now you have moved either yourself or your entire family to this church, this house of worship, where you need to live until further notice. But became even more difficult because of the fact of the pandemic. And it was, whereas before people were able to come in, there was like a steady flow of visitors coming in to talk to you, to stay with you and ask you questions and support you and provide you food. And now with the pandemic, that didn't happen. All of that ceased. And now you're like really lonely, to be quite frank with you. And I know that depression was a major issue, certainly during the height of the pandemic when everyone was quarantined and there was like the stay-at-home shelter in place enforcement. But can you imagine for them, now they're in a church, they can't see anyone, it's just the 4 of them. It just became very, very difficult. It just became a very, very difficult situation for all involved.
Now, Shannon, did you have concerns that the couple seeking sanctuary in a church would affect their case?
There are certain people who do it, and the government attorneys sometimes are very angry about that. But in this case, because of the couple, like I said earlier, when I was speaking to the wife, the genuine concern about helping people and wanting, like you could tell like this was genuine. She wanted to make a difference. You saw a difference in who wanted to help her. And you could see that because 2.5 years living at a church, obviously these have to be special people. The entire community got together to really assist her. From US senators, such as US Senator Cory Booker, who had ran for president, US Senator Mendez, you had these individuals, powerful people reaching out. And it's very important to keep in mind, normally they do not want to get involved in these kind of litigation cases, but they did. Because this is the kind of couple, people who come into this country, they didn't do anything wrong, they haven't been arrested, they have a family here, they're working hard, they're making a difference, they have skills to contribute to the community. This is what society really is looking for to a certain extent. And as a result, you had all these individuals really supporting, reaching out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, saying, hey, why don't you do whatever it takes in order to allow them to be able to get a green card? And ultimately, the beauty of this is that the Philadelphia people in charge were like, we want to work this out. We want to make a difference in this couple's life, in this family's life. What can we do? And what I had suggested, which was the motion to reopen, was get this filed as soon as possible because we want this to work out.
So what specific documentation was in the motion?
Mm-hmm. So basically what was in the motion were documentation to show family relationships, which were the birth certificates of the children, ultimately to show that they were, number one, their children and also US citizens. So we submitted those documentation. We also submitted their work information, that they've been working, that they basically had jobs and that they were contributing to society, that they filed taxes. We submitted those documents. We also submitted documentation like affidavits, as we talked about, from all these individuals, politicians, heads of nonprofit organizations that became very involved, immigrant advocacy groups that were indicating that this is not what you want to do. This couple has contributed to the community. So really powerful testimony from these individuals about what they've done in order to make their community better. This is a family that loves their children and want their children to continue to succeed. And do you really want to deport these parents from these children and will forever impact these kids' lives? And sometimes people don't understand that. A lot of times children, people are like, well, they're US citizens, but this impacts them tremendously when they know that they are going to possibly be separated from someone that they've known all their life, their mom or their dad, and they don't understand the concept of, well, they don't have papers. For them, that it just doesn't make sense. And so affidavits from them, to submit about what their parents have done, the kind of influence they've had in their lives. All of this was submitted to immigration. And again, this had been in the papers, this had been in news outlets, so we submitted those documents also. And ultimately, the government attorney was on board and was reaching out to us with detailed emails about, okay, I got this. Okay, so now here is the next steps. We were working together, the government attorney in our office, to make this basically go right. And that's the beauty of this. That's the greatness of how it should work. It shouldn't always be just opposing counsel. It's about what's in the best interest of not only the country, but for everyone involved. And it's not about prosecuting these individuals. It's about looking at the details, looking at the facts of this case. Is it really worth it? And it was wonderful to have a government attorney who realized that why should we waste resources on this kind of family? We should be looking to see ultimately they can get a green card. Let's see how we can reopen this case. So in this joint motion to reopen, we requested government use your prosecutorial discretion, basically join in with us to ask the court reopen this case, which is the Board of Immigration Appeals in this particular circumstance. We both signed off on the motion to reopen and submitted it to the Board of Immigration Appeals, who ultimately reopened the case and remanded it or sent it back to the immigration court.
And this shows how important it is for families going through removal to have a good attorney as well as a support from the community.
It is. I mean, a lot of time when I do the motion to reopen, I tell our clients the importance of what you're doing, how you're contributing to society. You know, many people, of course, immigrants come to this country, a lot of times they want to work, you know, so they're working, but there's other things that they may do. Like they might be involved in their church. They might be involved in, like, sometimes they coach a soccer team, or they're just actually playing on the soccer team, or maybe they guide their child on a sports team. And all of this we put into the motion to reopen because it shows really this person, who this person is. And that's really a lot of times what the judge or the government attorney wants to see. Does this person merit or deserve this opportunity? And what have they done to demonstrate that they deserve it? And that's really what the motion to reopen is about. And so when you have the support of the community, when you have your neighbors and powerful politicians, state politicians, you know, really sitting there saying, we are going to advocate for you, it means a lot.
And what is one of the first things the couple did once they were able to leave the church and go back home?
So basically, they had a routine in the past where they would go to a restaurant and people watch. And so that's what they ended up doing. They went back to their routine where they would, like, you know, just grab something and sit outside and really people watch. Something that probably people would take for granted. It was a great moment to hear that.
Wow, Shannon, congratulations to your clients and to you and Spar and Bernstein for keeping this family together in America. If you or your loved one are in deportation or are in need of immigration legal services, call Spar and Bernstein at 1-800-529-5465. Again, that's 1-800-529-5465.
All right, social media check-in. Or something called speed round. I don't know why I just said social media check-in, because probably I don't want to get blown up, so I said let's do more social media check-in. But we got to do speed round. I got to answer 9 questions in 50 seconds. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Can I stay working in the U.S. after my J1 visa expires?
Not legally.
Can I travel outside the country with AP after the interview?
You can travel with advanced parole, but come back before your interview.
Can I terminate removal without the government's agreement?
No.
If I was denied LPR through marriage, can I apply for advanced parole?
No.
Can my Jamaican wife come to America while I do the filing?
Yes, it's a K3 visa.
Is Medicaid a public charge?
Yes.
When will Biden's new amnesty law be enforced?
We don't know.
Will Nigeria participate in the next DV lottery?
Probably not.
Is it mandatory to include stepchildren on an N400?
No, biological children.
Done.
Balloons? Thank you! I'm dancing with no music. We did it! I think first time in like 3 or 4 days, I think, right? I don't think we've done it in a while. I feel like I've been blown up recently. True or not true? We were blown up on Monday. Friday, I think we were blown up too. But I saved myself today. That means it's celebration time.
Yes.
Good job, guys.
Good job, Brad.
All right, what do we got for comments of the day? What do we got?
All right, our first comment of the day comes from Yaniel504 saying, my heart and my condolences go out to the families that have lost a loved one due to gun violence. May God bring you strength. My prayers are with you all.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Our next one comes from Princess Tenko saying, Brad and the squad, I am a frontline worker, been running all pandemic long, about to get some much needed break next month. We hear that.
Amen. Amen on both of them.
I like that.
Yes.
All right. Third one comes from Sb1 saying, it's hot in here and there is no AC. is your lead in to introducing your OnlyFans.
Ha, ha, ha. Right.
Yes, because I said it's hot in here in the beginning. I gotta talk about the heat in the OnlyFans
Right,
part.
right.
I understand now. Took me a second to put it together. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And this one comes Sb1 saying, that was the one you just read. Abidan Jimmo saying, Bradshaw Live, the only immigration law show that simplifies complicated immigrant issues with explicit and detailed answers, best among the rest.
Explicit, also from OnlyFans as well, right?
Right.
All right, guys.
And the last
we have one more. Okay.
We have a lot tonight.
I didn't know that.
Comes from Veronica Dunfagin saying, feeling kind of sad today. However, I know by the time Brad's show is over, I'll feel much better. Thank you, Brad and the squad team, for doing what y'all do best.
Oh, wow.
Love the fun on here. That's amazing.
I'm happy that I bring some, and Yo-Yo and Vanessa, that the three of us bring some fun and amusement and change people's moods. Not bad.
Absolutely.
That makes me feel good. So thank you all for watching, and come back tomorrow for some more good vibes and good moods. 6 o'clock on Thursday. See you then. So Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465.